Alright, boys, we on that grind now, and the reason I'm saying this is because if everything goes my way this afternoon slash evening slash night, there will be two videos uploaded for y'all by the end of the night. And the reason I'm saying that is because obviously I'm doing these predictions late thanks to the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm gonna try to get a 2K video out. I don't know how that's gonna go. I don't have the most time, so I'll do what I can. Anyway, NFL Week 13 predictions. Let's get it. Now, first up, we got the Bengals and the Dolphins. Even though it was the Jets, I'm happy about the way we bounced back from that Denver loss, especially the defense. And the defense is back to its usual self. Xavier Howard is an absolute dog. He has like his 6 game in a row with an interception, 7 on the year. I don't think the Bengals can really do anything about our defense, especially without Joe Burrow. They have no offensive line. So guys like Emmanuel Ogba and like Shaq Lawson, all those dudes, they're going to be feasting on the Bengals. And they don't really have much of a defense as well. Now we got the Raiders and the Jets. The Raiders potentially got exposed. That was just an absolute nightmare game against the Falcons last week. They lost what, like 43-6. So I feel like I've just been fluctuating on the Raiders this whole season. At first, when they were like 2-0, 3-1, all that stuff, I wasn't 100% sold on them. Then they won in a pretty nice stretch, and I was like, okay, maybe they got something going. But now I'm back to not being 100% on this team. I think they'll beat the Jets because the Jets are the worst team. They are tanking for Trevor Lawrence at this point. But it'll probably be closer than the average Raiders fan would expect slash be happy with. So keep an eye on that game. And now we have the Indianapolis Colts against the Houston Texans. I got the Colts here because even though Deshaun Watson is one of the NFL's best quarterbacks, in my mind, he should be one of the QBs selected to the Pro Bowl, despite the fact that the Texans have been horrible. He doesn't have any weapons, and any shot that this Texans offense had of outplaying the defense of the Colts is pretty much gone when they lost their best receiver, Will Fuller. He is suspended for 6 games, aka the rest of the season, after being caught for using PEDs. So yeah, that's rough. Unless Brandon Cooks can hard carry it harder than he's ever hard carried, I don't see the Texans winning this game. Now we have the Browns and the Titans. The Titans are reestablishing themselves as a pretty good team. Derrick Henry had a wild game. I don't know if that was this week or the last week, though. I don't know. He was going crazy, though. I personally think that the Titans will beat the Browns. This is going to be a battle of the run game and who can stop it more because obviously these teams have some of the best running backs in the league. Obviously, Tennessee's got Henry, and Cleveland has Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, which is surprisingly working as a duo, despite the fact that they're basically splitting carries. But I think that the Titans are a better run-stopping team, even though they have like the worst third down defense. Don't worry about that. I personally think that their run defense will step up in a game that will establish themselves as a legit threat to potentially make it out of the AFC, although I don't know if that's going to happen. Patriots and the Chargers. I still don't think the Patriots can make the playoffs, but I think they'll go on a little nice streak here, especially now that they have Stephon Gilmore back. He'll give a boost to that defense along with J.C. Jackson. That's a scary duo, although I think Stephon Gilmore is likely to be traded. I think that the Patriots will get this win. I mean, the Chargers, I say this every week, despite what Justin Herbert has been doing, the Chargers just aren't a great team outside of that. And then we have the Broncos and the Chiefs. That's an easy win for the Chiefs, even though Denver will actually have a quarterback next week. I mean, I don't think they or anyone can really take down the Chiefs aside from the Oakland Raiders. They seem to know something we don't. Now the Cowboys and the Ravens. That game was supposed to be tonight, but obviously they're not going to force someone to play a back-to-back in the NFL. This is actually an interesting one. Dez Bryant plays his former team in the Cowboys, but enough storylines. The Ravens, they put up a really, really good fight despite not having a bunch of their starters. And I think if they didn't get hit hard by the Rona, my prediction of them beating the Steelers last week probably would have come true. So I think they'll build off of this nice effort from the reserves and get a win over the Cowboys to avoid damaging their playoff hopes too much. Steelers and the Washington football team. The Steelers played an ugly, ugly game, but they still got away with the win. They could just not score touchdowns when they got in the red zone. It was not a good showing. And, this could actually be a decently close game. I could see, maybe in a decent amount out of 100 games it's played was 100 times. The football team would actually win a decent amount, but I still think that's kind of unlikely, and the Steelers, with their good defense, will shut down the Washington O. The football team's got a pretty decent defense. They got really good pass rushers now. If they had just had a better offense, like a good QB to go with Scary Terry and a better offensive line, I think they would probably pull this one off, but they don't, so they're going to lose. Now we have the Jaguars and the Vikings. Vikings are still gunning for a late run and a potential playoff push, and I think they'll just completely wreck this young Jaguars team. I mean, they're 1-11 now. They've lost 10 straight games after this likely loss to Minnesota, who moves up to 6-6. I mean, next year, Jacksonville. Next year. TikTok's probably going wild that Mike Glennon's playing again, though. Bills and the 49ers. The Bills. The Bills, as someone, I forgot who it was in the Steelers game. I think it was just Mike and Chris talking in garbage time. Buffalo is playing out of their mind. That's exactly the correct word. Josh Allen, probably a Pro Bowl QB this year. No one really expected him to do that. And the 49ers, they're just so depleted. They've lost pretty much all of their offense to injuries. And it is pretty sad to see the former NFC champions falling like this, but they'll be back. The Lions and the Bears. Now here's an interesting one. The Bears have been on a really bad streak lately. They started the season well, but they've lost pretty much all of their recent games. And the Lions, they're trying to get in the playoffs here. They traded for Everson Griffin, and they finally fired Matt Patricia and their GM. It took them a while, but I have a feeling it's going to take this new staff a couple of games to get used to everything. And I think that they'll follow the Bears, who finally snapped their horrific streak. And now we move on to the Saints and the Falcons. I don't know if Drew Brees is coming back. The minimum return time was 2 weeks. And I believe it's been 2 weeks. So he may or may not be coming back. The Falcons, though, they had an impressive win against the Raiders. But, this is how the Atlanta Falcons go. They're going to go on a little win streak here. Not this game, though. The Saints will probably win that just because they're a much better team. The Falcons will, win, 3 of their last 4. End up being 8-8 or 7-9. Management won't change a thing, and they'll just repeat the cycle. I think I might have said that before, or maybe I just told that to one of my friends. I don't know. The Rams and the Cardinals. Kyler Murray has kind of cooled down a bit over the last couple of games, and that's concerning because the Rams have an amazing defense. So, assuming that Kyler Murray doesn't, light up the stat sheet, I think the Rams got this one. They're one of the best teams in the NFC, and I think people still might be sleeping on them, which is kind of crazy to say. They have a real chance to make it out of a inferior NFC. Now we have the Giants and the Seahawks. This is a game that I could potentially see the Giants winning. They have a better defense than the Seahawks, but they really don't have much of an offense to take advantage of the bad D on Seattle. So I was thinking about taking the Giants, but, that Seattle offense is loaded, obviously, and that Giants offense is not. But the Giants are still on top of the NFC East with a 4-8 record. It's so bad, though. That's crazy. Now we have the Packers and the Eagles in the final game here. Eagles, it's not going good for them. Carson Wentz has just been so god-awful. And part of it has been his offensive line. He's been sacked so many times. I think he's on pace to have gotten sacked 60 times this season, and that's really bad. Especially when you're going up against that pass rush duo of Za'Darius and Preston Smith. I definitely got the Packers winning this one. Alright, there we have it. Those are my predictions for Week 13. Steelers stay on top of the AFC, and looking at that, nothing changes. NFC, though, the Vikings actually replaced the Cardinals. And yeah, that's about it. So, there you go. That's this video. I don't know if I can get the 2K video out today, but I'll tease it. It's involving the Russell Westbrook trade, but this is kind of getting to be a long outro, as all my outros usually are. So yeah, either see you today or sometime later.